Network Entertainment.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to you.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
Watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stancy, Romoran, Emile, Nate, all checking in on a Thursday live stream. It is so good to be back, so good to be interacting with everyone once again. And we are just bracing ourselves for another crazy couple of weeks because we have a lot of huge wrestling events to talk about. We've got some live events we want you to be a part of. But let's start with just asking everybody how they're at. Ikaw, Emile, how are things on your end? You're still in the city, diba?
No, I'm back in Naga since last week. So things have been fine. It's been raining here. Pero it's just good. It's just good being home. It's been 2 months. Parang nagstay ako sa Manila, around Manila area for like 2 months. So it's good that I'm back. Kaka-celebrate lang ng anniversary ng me and my girlfriend. So everything's good.
Hey, happy anniversary.
Congrats, happy anniversary.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
All right. I was going to ask, Ro, if you're calling in from the office kasi naka-hoodie ka. It's not every day we get to see you in a hoodie.
No, I'm calling in from home. I don't have all of this in the office. Nag-aircon ako malamig yung aircon. So, might as well.
Yes, we are feeling a bit chillier now that the Christmas season is pretty much upon us. Pero bago tayo magpasko, we have a lot of activities going on in our patron community. So, Emile, why don't you tell the good people how they can be part of our growing Wrestling Podcast patron group?
All right, you can do that by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast for as low as $5 or 260 to 270 pesos in our local currency. You'll get some benefits, of course. Get to join in on our Discord, where this Sunday we will have an online watch party of Full Gear, AEW Full Gear, the last pay-per-view of the year.
No, it's not.
No, not.
It is not.
The last. Yeah, forgot we have.
They literally have a pay-per-view that has the end in its title.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So the second to the last pay-per-view of the year for AEW. So you're gonna, if you want to join in on all the fun on the watch party, we can do that by subscribing to our Patreon. And you can also interact with your fellow podcast and talk to us about anything and everything under the sun. You can ask us questions, do all that stuff. You also, if you've been noticing lately, we've been doing this new system of our pasabayas, and the next one is coming in a couple of weeks, next week or Next week, yeah. So if you want to get your authentic merch and you want to get some special rates on the service fees, the pinapatong namin, you could do that by joining on our Patreon, and also get some review content of the weekly wrestling shows, courtesy of Rowan, ASH, and Ro, like Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, and some local wrestling happenings as well. And again, by subscribing to our Patreon, you're pretty much supporting everything that we do here on the pod. So again, it's at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast for as low as $5.
Speaking of the things we're doing, we're so excited for our final live viewing party of 2023. It's happening at Hobby Stadium. That's on November 26, Sunday. So Survivor Series. So sure na yan. We are already selling yung mga early bird tickets natin for 350 pesos. The cutoff date is next Monday, November 20. So that's the last day that you can get your early bird tickets. So whether it's an early bird ticket at 350 pesos or yung walk-in tickets natin at 500 pesos, you get an iced tea to go along with the experience of watching Survivor Series War Games at Hobby Stadium with Emile and Rowan and all of the wrestling fans, or at least yung community natin dito sa Wrestling Podcast. And of course, it's not a wrestling podcast event kung wala tayo mga pag-giveaways. So shout out to our friends from Everybody's Toys and Collectibles and from Hobby Stadium for hooking us up with all the prizes that we're going to be giving away on Sunday, November 26. Doors open at 8 a.m. and the main show starts at 9 a.m. kasi tapos na ang daylight savings time. All right? And if you want to get your tickets, they are available at tinyurl.com/Survivor Series PH 2023. Again, that is tinyurl.com/Survivor Series PH 2023. Yan, si Mac pupunta raw. Oh. Nakabili ka na ba, Mac?
Maybe he's gonna walk in. Maybe, who knows? Mac
Even
is
better.
supporting. Yeah, Mac is supporting everything that we're doing. We love to see it. Thank you. Maraming salamat so much, Mac.
One last thing we're doing is the Black Friday Pasabay Run, which Ro can tell you all about.
Hey, bago to. Did we make this?
Ako gumawa ako.
Oh, wow, nice. Looks good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Black Friday is happening next week kasi Thanksgiving na next week because everybody wants to have a great deal for the holidays. Bibili ka ng mga gifts pang regalo sa mga friends, sa inyo, sarili nyo, your loved ones. And because it's going to be the biggest sale of the year, well, over there in the in the US, we'll be doing our usual Black Friday pasabay runs. Meron ng mga nakakasa from our friends in the industry and elsewhere. So we'll be getting stuff from WWE Shop AEW, Pro Wrestling Tees, other places with wrestling merch as well, like Roots of Fight or Ripple Junction or wherever else have you. So if there is something that you've been eyeing, stay tuned kasi magbubukas na kami ng bagong batch by Monday, November 20, because we'll be locking in everything before we start buying it on Friday or over the weekend. So if you have something that you wanted to buy, please lock that down and send it to us when we open the form so that you can be a part of the next batch of people who will enjoy their legit, authentic wrestling merch.
Yes. So again, Black Friday Pasabay Run opening Monday, November 20. Saying what's up to JK. Thanks for joining us, champ.
JK.
All right, let's talk some wrestling. And we're going to start with the bigger heel turn of the week. And this is something na for a few weeks, sinusubaybayan na natin on Raw. We were just wondering when that final snap will happen. And ito na nga, yung one bad day ni Drew McIntyre, kumpleto na. He has aligned himself with the Judgment Day. He cost Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes their shot at the undisputed tag team championships. And bali-balita, ni-report ni Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com over the week na planado na talaga to for about a couple of months. So what do you make of this, Emile, now that Drew McIntyre has firmly entrenched himself in heel territory?
I mean, finally, like Sean reported, it's been planned for months, and I can see it. They've been planting seeds for it. He had that feud with the mini feud with the New Day, where it feels like he was heading there, and then they finally pulled the trigger. I actually like the execution of this turn, because if you watched Raw, there was a segment there where he showed some sportsmanship to Seth Rollins. So I thought it wasn't gonna happen there. But they pulled the trigger in the main event, and it was fine. The heel turn was fine. It was expected, but it was also perfectly executed, my opinion.
Ito sabi ni Albert, Drew daw will kick Damian Priest out of the Judgment Day. What do you think, Ro?
I don't think Drew is joining the Judgment Day. I don't think ito yung pinakita nila. It could be like it's not super unambiguous na hindi siya kasali. They did do the handshake and everything. I just don't see it happening that way until we see what happens next week on Raw, tapos on War Games itself, diba? So a lot of things are up in the air. They did talk about this. Something that we keep forgetting is that Drew hasn't reportedly signed a new contract with WWE. So I wouldn't be putting him in any popular factions if he hasn't signed yet. So who knows? It could be, it could not be, pero I think this is just him completing the turn. completing the whole bad day thing. He's been bitter, which he was teasing at the start of the feud with Seth Rollins, diba? So ito na yun. It does kind of make you realize, okay, yeah, there is a long-term story being told here, and parang it goes to show na whatever one thing happens here is really a part of a bigger picture here. Na you do have to wait and see where it plays out. So may say na when people tell you to let it play out, right? It's not like we're in Vince's time where things could just happen and then you don't know kung may payoff siya, diba? So it kind of inspires and doesn't inspire your faith in something like the bloodline even. So whatever you make of that is up to you. Pero interesting lang na okay, they were telling a story and they followed through on what they started with all those weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Ina brings up something interesting here kasi diba, we're headed towards War Games, 4-on-4 so far yung men's War Games match, but last year it was 5-on-5. So if Drew McIntyre joins the Judgment Day sa War Games team nila, who do you want on Team Cody? Kasi may rumors na Randy Orton is showing up as the fifth guy, and if Randy Orton were to show up now, they would actually announce it ahead of time to prevent all of the CM Punk buzz from taking over the intrigue surrounding the fifth babyface.
Yeah, Sean has been pushing yung Orton rumors. He's actually been trolling people online. If you've seen his Twitter, he's pushing both Orton and Punk because Orton and Punk have worked together, so and have used the same song at one point. Mm-hmm. So he's acknowledging the rumors of CM Punk and he's also pushing the rumors of Orton. So I think if you announce Orton on Raw next week, kasi may time pa may go home pa sila. I don't think that takes away from the whole Punk thing because Punk could still appear anywhere else on the show, diba? It doesn't have to be on the War Games team. So, yeah, all signs point to Orton, so Orton na.
Mm-hmm. Emile.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I think it's gonna be Orton because it's like it's been rumored for a while, and I think he's ready to return, and it makes sense because it's even though they say they don't have that leader, Cody is pretty much their number one guy on that team. So makes sense for Orton because it makes sense to see Orton yung rest back because Cody on the post Raw they cut a promo and Cody said there that he has a friend and he was gonna give him a call and it most likely is Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see next week when we do our predictions kung magkakatotoo nga na Randy Orton is the fifth guy or if we even get a 5-on-5 War Games match to begin with because it could just as easily be 4-on-4, diba? We could be speculating for nothing here and
Alam ko na kung sino yung fifth guy.
Sino?
Si Ted DiBiase Jr.
Isn't he in prison or no? That was
I don't know if he's been sent to jail yet, but it is what it is.
All right, moving on. Doon naman tayo sa Judgment Day. JD McDonough officially a part of the team now. So si Damian Priest pa mismo yung nagsabi na, ako na magbibigay nung gear niya. And from the way that they were telling that story, it seems like Damian Priest was just given this fake sense of agency when it seemed like the rest of the Judgment Day were already set on having JD McDonough be a part of the group. So what do you think about this development naman?
Go ahead, Emile. I have some thoughts on it.
Yeah, again, I feel ko parang lang to, yung when they gave Damian the fake agency, it's just to not rock the boat because in the earlier promo they kept on egging him on and saying that he's not the leader, like ganun. So parang lang to, parang hindi lang siya magalit or what. So with the JD inclusion, it's been, I thought he was a member for a while now. I mean, he keeps coming out with them and, keeps having matches representing the Judgment Day. But I guess this is the official first day for JD as
OJT pa lang daw siya. OJD.
ASH pa lang daw siya.
Yeah. So I guess he's a part of it now.
Interesting kasi you have both of the heel groups involved in War Games matches about to get broken up in some form or fashion, diba? Not naman completely broken up, but they're about to kick out one person each. So you got Bailey almost about to get kicked out. Then you got Damian Priest almost about to get kicked out. Yeah, I mean the whole JD thing was just in time. So yun nga, like I said kanina, matagal na sinusulat tong kwento na to. And then they finally got around to it just so they can legitimize yung pagsali ni JD on their team for War Games. So given that precedent, maybe that means Drew is possibly joining the Judgment Day. But for all intents and purposes, in my mind, na associate ko na rin naman si JD with JD, right? So it's a good thing because you can see as well that yung mga latak ng NXT may nagagawa under Triple H.
No, may papel talaga, diba? That's one of the beauties of the current system where everybody's doing something. We'll actually talk about yung depth of the Raw roster and all the storylines everyone's in sa audio only natin, which should come out this weekend. All right, let's talk about another heel turn that took place naman on SmackDown. Santos Escobar has turned to the dark side. He takes Rey Mysterio out, and then we find out na may legit knee injury pala. Itong si Rey Mysterio, he underwent successful surgery, so he's about to be out he will be out for a good number of months. Yung bali-balita is that regardless of the injury, Santos Escobar was supposed to turn heel anyway, and that if Rey weren't injured, they would have actually done Rey versus Santos at the house show circuit following the heel turn. So, what do you think of this one, Emile?
Actually, I'm actually fine with what happened. If Ray needed time off to get healthy, that's perfectly okay. And napaka-convenient na they had to do this storyline, so to kind of sell it, kind of sell the heel turn. He injured Ray, and and that. Pero ang question na lang dito is what happens to the rest of the LWO? I mean, do they because ano na yung name nila? Bagong name.
Ladder match for the custody of the LWO.
No, the tag team. So, mababalik ba sila kay Santos, or they gonna do their
Who
own
gets
thing?
custody? The custody
Ladder
of
match
Legado.
for the custody of Legado.
That's gonna be the ball to this feud. Pero yeah, plus you can always pencil in this feud when Ray comes back. Possibly next year, possibly kung kaya niya by WrestleMania, then go. But I don't think so. Maybe SummerSlam. So they can always go back to it and establish Santos first as one of the top heels to go on SmackDown.
Yeah, obviously Carlito will be the one feuding with Santos as proxy
exactly.
for Ray at this time. Interesting at what happens to the tag team, to Joaquin and Cruz. So I would hope that they go with Santos because Santos was their jefe naman talaga. And I don't know what they would be like under Carlito. So I guess you would just keep Zelina under Carlito, or yun nga, because Santos does need the crew, he would get the Garzas, diba? As we talked about a little bit in Picks of the Week. So I do hope that happens because I just want to see more of these guys on the main roster. Kasi sayang yung Garzas if they, they were set down to NXT to be repaired, if you will. So let's just have the LWO Civil War, the Hollywood and Wolfpack version in 2023.
Yeah, sure, why not? But it gives them all something to do at least.
Yep.
Speaking of John Carlo, thoughts on the statement in Logan Paul's race spot. Here is my thoughts on that statement. I was fucking right. I was fucking right. And nobody wanted to listen to me. Yeah. So yun, alam nyo na lahat Logan Paul admits not only did he not save Ray, well, he admitted that he also kind of saved Ray, but he admitted that he almost killed Ray by making the mistake. So he understood where he went wrong and where he was not supposed to be. So I hope that we all stop, or you all stop, with the narrative that he saved Ray. Ray didn't die, but he did injure his knee. So there is that. So yun, I hope that it coming from the performer's mouth kind of sets everyone straight. Kasi He kind of half denied it, which is a little bit, but it's to be expected of his character. Pero alam mo yun, he get it. He gets it. So I'm glad that Logan gets it, kasi that's how I know na he is actually learning and understanding what he's doing in the ring.
Mm-hmm. All right, last thing we're going to talk about from the WWE side of things. Damage Control is officially a super group. So, ang tanong, sinong bias mo sa Damage Control?
Okay.
Bailey and Kyrie.
Yeah, for me, it's Kyrie and Io.
Yeah, it's EO for me. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a champion. Yeah.
Si babyface producer Jasper, Kyrie din eh. Multiple times
yeah.
Kyrie.
Yeah, bias si Kyrie.
Yeah, she has a different aura when she came back, so I get it.
It's so hot. I'm just so into this supergroup version of Damage Control. We've already given our preliminary thoughts on this nung Picks of the Week podcast. So if you haven't checked that out, please go find it on Spotify or your favorite podcatcher. Pero si Ro, meron siyang additional thoughts that you wanted to get into here during the live stream.
No, I mean just it's funny because we're seeing how it's gonna apparently shift from Damage Control to the Japanese taking over, and I like that because I thought they failed. Yeah, I mentioned this nung Picks of the Week, but they failed Damage Control because they never really fleshed out what damage they were controlling. And I think there is a chance now to assume new leadership and then parang rebrand the whole thing and just make it like I guess a stable of Joshi Puro wrestlers, diba? Na all of these women except for Bailey, I think, have competed in Japan. You might have to fact check me on Dakota here, pero
yeah, Dakota did.
Yeah. So there's that, and I think that's a nice way to unite them. Because the whole thing with Bailey was to bring them back from diba? Was to bring Dakota back from free agency, tapos to bring Io up from NXT. So eto, I think there's a real chance to really hit the reset button in a good way.
Yeah, and I really love the Asuka turn kasi it was kind of unexpected. It was like she pulled a Kevin Durant joining the Warriors. She can't beat them, join them. So they executed it well and very timely din kasi of War Games.
Mm-hmm. May tanong si Mac dito. Do you guys think Io can handle the lead role?
Io is fucking great. You just don't see it kasi Io doesn't have English as a first language, pero look at her charisma, diba? It's so magnetic na I think all of them can lead a stable, except all three Japanese ladies can lead a stable, and you can count on any of them being a credible leader.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, so I fact-checked. Dakota Kai did indeed wrestle in Stardom, and nakalaban din niya sina Io and Kyrie and Mayu at some point.
So yun yung link.
Yeah. So si Bailey talaga yung others. And I recommend that everyone actually check out that one video from SmackDown Lowdown. Kasi nga, that already gives you a clue na the Bailey turn is gonna happen. It's not a matter of if, but when, based on that video. Diba? Like if you know how WWE tells their stories and everything. Right? Any other thoughts on Damage Control and our favorite biases?
No, Glendale has a question. If kung may War Games in women, who should be the fourth member for the other team?
So, yung bali-balita is that it might be Becky Lynch, but I suggested nung Picks of the Week episode na maybe it could be Michin kasi she's still part of the SmackDown roster, diba? And she's not doing anything at the moment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, might as well be, diba? There's Becky as well, but I would much rather have Mia Yim do this because she is part of the SmackDown roster.
Yeah. And, like Becky, Mia has also participated in War Games before. Nakadalawa na nga siya, so she knows her way around the War Games match. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we will be predicting Full Gear. We'll also talk about that supposed big new signing and get into our thoughts on that crazy match, the crazy 8-man street fight video game content placement or product placement on AEW. All of that coming up right after this. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on the Pod Network. All right, let's start with talking about this big signing na hinahype ni TK. So he tweeted out earlier this morning Philippine time na there's a big signing and we will find out who that is at Full Gear. So it's not Kota Ibushi kasi in-announce na yun. That was Twitter official as of Dynamite during the broadcast, right? So who is this big signing? Is it someone from the recently released WWE Superstars? Could it be Mercedes Moné? Who do you have on your bingo card for this one?
Before that, let us call attention to the fact that Tony Khan just went and announced it on Twitter. Kasi for this and the C2 that he announced nung collision last Saturday, he just straight up announced it and forgone all the Tony Khan is a big announcement graphic. So the bullying has paid off. The clowning of Tony Khan has paid off. He heard all of your complaints about the all-in ticket announcement, and now he is just straight up announcing things whenever he wants to. Whether or not this is a good strategy remains to be seen, but I guess you guys like it kasi I know you cut out the middleman, right? You cut out the lame hype for whatever it might be. Tapos madidisappoint tayo na hindi siya talaga big announcement. Right. Anyway, I don't know who this could be. My initial guess was Dolph, but it was pointed out that Dolph is still under no compete. Mustafa Ali as well is still under no compete.
Sabay-sabay sila eh.
The only thing that made sense nga is Mercedes. So I guess it's that. I'm not so sure about the whole respected by every AEW fan. That's always subjective. But since nobody else can sign, nobody else other than her can sign, then that might just narrow it down.
Gago, what if it's Chris Hero?
Pwede actually. It's not impossible because he's making the comeback, right? So he really is working does it count? Because he's already working backstage, diba? With AEW?
Producer.
I'm not sure if he's actually with AEW kasi parang freelance siya based on yung interview niya with the Masked Man show.
Okay. So maybe this is them finalizing it. Glendale says Nakajima just signed with AJPW, so hindi pwede yan. It's either Mercedes or Chris Hero, or God forbid, Tyrus.
Gago, feeling ko magugulat tayo. Like, it's someone who's not among those names at all. I mean, Mercedes hasn't been cleared, di ba? Parang walang balita.
Yeah, pero alam mo yun, you could still get cleared and, you could still be injured and signed, di ba? John Kevin says Will Ospreay. Ina says the contract hasn't expired yet. So, medyo matagal-tagal pa yan. EC3, probably, but I don't know about being respected. You could also make a case for Matt Cardona, I guess, but also not as respected as, the other names we mentioned.
We'll see. We'll see, and we'll see what spot they put this entrance in, this debut in, diba? I think yung placement din ng taong yun might give you an idea kung ano yung kung sino man to, like whatever spot on the card it appears on. Kasi like Full Gear 2 years ago when Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson both debuted, but it was at the very end, so you knew it was a big fucking deal na these two guys would show up in the main event spot in your card. So let's see what happens over the weekend. In the meantime, let's go and predict the card for Full Gear. So let's start with the kickoff match or yung pre-show match nila. It's the Guns versus MJF and X for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. Does MJF finally accept Samoa Joe's offer of friendship here?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's where they're going with that. That's why he vacated the championship. People have been wondering, why did you vacate the championship? Which I asked last week. And this might be a good reason why. Para hindi concentrated sa kanya yung tatlong or at least 2 championships.
Same thing. I think it's gonna be Joe. Sobrang weird lang na Joe will go from the TV championship to their World Tag Team Championship. For the meantime, kasi target naman niya talaga is the AEW World Championship. But I think it's a way for him to get there by helping out MJF. And Korean a favor at some point. So I think it's Joe. Yeah, I think it's Joe. And they're gonna retain.
Oh, yeah, they're retaining. Okay.
Now that I think about it, parang ginamit na yung playbook ni Adam Cole na to be his friend tapos eventually get a championship shot. So interesting. It's a perverted way to get the title shot the way Adam Cole did.
Ito, magandang question from babyface producer Jasper, who's backstage. What if it's Wardlow?
Why? Wardlow hates him.
Yeah,
Wardlow doesn't care.
Is angry at MJF, so why would he help him?
Ganun din. Same playbook, diba?
No,
but Joe has an
Wardlow,
intent.
yeah, Joe is finessing it. Wardlow is not. So Wardlow hates MJF.
All right. So people in the chat, do you think the Guns have a shot at winning the ROH tags? Kasi Ro and Emile clearly think MJF and Samoa Joe presumably are likely gonna retain. So let us know in the chat yung predictions here for this one as we move on to Hikaru Shida versus Timeless Tony Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship.
It's time, ironically. It's time for Tony to do the thing. Kasi this is still one of the most over characters in the company sa AEW. And as much as I hate it, naging transitional champion na naman si Hikaru Shida, which is fine. Having the most title reigns in the company, is not something to scoff at, diba? I mean, who cares if you've held it for a couple of months at a time, as long as you get to win the championships in the first place, diba? So
tabla na sila ni Tony when Tony wins, or if Tony wins over the weekend.
Yeah, so Tony na yan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same thing. Tony will win the championship, and finally they're gonna hand her the title because this is her gimmick right now. It's one of the most over gimmicks, and I kind of like how it evolved. Now her vignettes talagang may filter na ng 1950s na black and white, pati yung sound sabog yung sound. So I really like her presentation and her look, and she really ran with the gimmick. I mean, I thought at first this was just gonna be a throwaway gimmick, but she really ran with it, and it got over, and you gotta applaud that, and you gotta give her a run here at the title. So I'll go with Timeless Tony.
Does Mariah May get involved here?
Probably.
Yes. Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, they just signed her, so you might as well.
Yeah, she finally met her idol nitong Dynamite, so I guess she might get she might interfere, diba, and cost Hikaru Shida the title. All right, let's go to the trios match between Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland. They're taking on the Patriarchy. So hindi pa to yung official name, but the commentary team has been referring to them as the Patriarchy for a couple of weeks now, which I think is a nice name since Christian Cage is the father of the year. So who do you think is winning this one? This should be fun.
The babyface team. Like
you gotta give Adam Copeland.
Yeah, you gotta give him the win, right?
Yeah.
You sign them, and then it's supposed to be a big match, but I think the big blow off is Christian versus Cope World's End, diba? So you give them the win so that you get the TNT Championship shot for Edge for Cope, and that's where Christian can beat him, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Why else would you sign him now, diba? If you're not gonna make him win.
First pay-per-view, tas matatalo. I don't think that's gonna happen. So Adam Copeland and friends with the win.
Adam Copeland and friends. Talagang ginawa mong and friends si Sting, of all people.
Someone, si Glenda mentioned it. That's why. Yeah,
so Wikipedia says that Ric Flair is part of this match. Na siya yung manager ni Adam Copeland and friends. I don't know how he factors into this. I don't know if Christian Cage will burn Ric Flair on the mic again. So it should be fun if Nate appears. If not controversial for obvious reasons. All right, moving on to the AEW International Championship. It is Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley 2. Clearly, this rivalry is now one of the anchors of AEW programming based on the way that they've been building this up.
Last week, I said na it was so good kasi nagkaroon ng character development si Orange Cassidy. And I think you gotta give Mox the win here to really... This is, ironically... Bad Day Orange is now on the other end, whereas Seth is trying to do his previous character na injured palagi or forever injured, and now he's doing the Drew character, which is strange way how these things connect. So you gotta give Mox the win kasi Orange Cassidy is fucking spiraling. He is spiraling down the rabbit hole, and you can see it unravel from week to week. And I love that they explained it last week, diba? And now you understand what the man is going through. So if he wins, ano naman? So what now? If he wins And does he go if he wins? Does he go back to being whatever he was? The gives no fucks version of him from before. Parang we're past that at this point since you've already poked the set off the domino reaction of him finding his dark side, diba? So naudot din naman yung championship reign of John Moxley, and I think that was the long-term plan for him anyway before he got concussed in that Phoenix match, diba? So it all lines up, and I think they found a really good way to tie these two things together. So I'm going with Mox.
Actually, I was thinking about maybe Orange Cassidy with the win here kasi they established a story na he felt even though he's a champion, he feels empty because he didn't beat Mox for it. So might as well give him the win. Or
okay, yeah. If he wins, then what happens to him? Does he go back to who he was?
Yeah.
Parang ang pangit naman ng bigger picture nun.
Yeah, pero like I want this to happen. No? Orange will lose, and then he's gonna go on and join the Continental Classic and have an extra edge there to further solidify the character development. So you know what? You changed my mind, bro. I'm going John Moxley.
Ang dali mo pala mapilit eh.
No, you were right. You're right kasi. Like I was thinking about it, and you have a point. So
hindi, wala, para kang politikong Pinoy. Nagfi-flip-flop. Flip-flop. We'll see who wins, if it's Ryan Gosling or Bizarro Ed Sheeran. All right, let's move on to the next match on Full Gear. Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland. This one got really physical earlier for Prince Nana kasi yung stipulation is Hangman and Swerve could not touch one another, but Prince Nana was fair game, so he took the bullet for Swerve today.
It's interesting how nung una, diba, the last pay-per-view, it was a random match, and then now they really built this up into something insane. Like dumalo pa sa bahay ni Hangman si Swerve, and then he threatened or almost threatened his kid, which is insane. Like I didn't think they would spend this much time on this feud because I wanted Swerve to move up, but then again, there is nowhere else for Swerve to go and no other person for him to feud with. So I guess this is fine. They fuck, right? They can cook with matches. So I wish this was for a stipulation na may, hardcore something, right? But it's okay. I think Hangman has to get his win back because what else? How else are you gonna go out on your shield after your rival dropped by your house and broke into your house just like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Texas Death Match. Thank you.
Oh, may stipulation. Okay, that's
yes.
Great.
May stip.
Yeah,
nakalimutan ko rin. Sorry.
Yeah. That's great. Point ko din sana is I wish this could have had a stipulation, but meron pala. So yeah, same. Hangman has to win. Has to win here. Natalo siya nung previous match, and he has to get his win back, and maybe who knows, they can extend this feud until World's End.
Mm-hmm. Naisip ko lang, a good way to extend this would probably be to put Hangman and Swerve on opposite brackets ng Continental Classic, then have them meet in the finals.
Yeah, that's also a thing. Yeah, that Continental Classic bracket, or what I mean, wala pa, may bracket diba? May full bracket.
Wala pa. Si Brian pa lang yung entrant, diba?
Yeah, exactly, right. So that's a good way to set things up for the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to the Young Bucks versus the Golden Jets, or the team of Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. So what do you guys think about this one? Kasi it's one of those feuds na parang out of nowhere din, but they have been explaining it. They have gotten into why the Young Bucks have behaved so erratically and have been pretty insecure about their friendship with Kenny.
Yeah, it's one of those things that people like to make fun of, but that's because they don't really understand how it evolves from week to week. Like, gets ko naman yung issue ng Young Bucks si Jericho, right?
Yeah.
They all have history with each other, right? And then they made it make sense, right? They explained yung growing resentment about Kenny choosing someone else, right? Which is it's all sensible. It's logical, So I get why this feud is happening. You just have to follow it every week to understand why this match is happening. So I like this a lot. I like this matchup, and I feel like I would give it to the Golden Jets para lang mainis yung Young Bucks lalo sa kanila, because you are kind of needling them into a heel turn here at this point, diba? Or else what else are you doing with them? Like, it's like the Orange Cassidy thing, diba? What are you gonna do with them if they don't get pushed over the edge, right?
Yeah, I kind of don't like how the Young Bucks are heel or probably heading it down to another heel turn. Because, for once I want the Elite to just be together for a really long time, pero that's not how it goes. So I go with the Golden Jets for the win here. Kasi mas may story kung matalo yung Young Bucks here.
Maganda tong bring up ni Glendale because it does remind me as well of the Young Bucks versus Golden Lovers feud from 5 years ago. Ganito rin, halos same story na nagselos yung Young Bucks na Kenny was trying to get back with Kota Ibushi as a tag team, and then it led to that huge match. I believe it was like March of 2018.
Yeah. Strong style evolved. That was the event for it.
Yeah. I think Chino was there, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 5 years ago all over again. Let's pause here and talk about that match between the Golden Jets, Paul White, and Kota Ibushi versus the Don Callis family. So it was a product placement for the video game, Like a Dragon Gaiden, and then it was basically a street fight. Nakasuit sina Jericho and Kenny. Paul White went through a car hood, which was nuts because ang bigat niya, nabuhat siya ni Powerhouse House, but also the man has gone through several hip injuries, and I'm not sure if, it was like extra painful for someone like him. And then Kota Ibushi did this thing where he got on a bike, he was wielding a steel pipe, and he went all El Kabong on the people he passed by. Literally, Kabong, Kyle Fletcher, Kabong, I forgot who else he went Kabong on. And then Brian Cage took him down with a lariat. Sobrang nakakatawa. So, I know you haven't seen it yet, Ro. Ikaw, Emile, have you seen the match?
Just some clips. That Kota Ibushi clip that you were talking about. I saw that. He had a bicycle.
Sobrang nakakagago. The entire match was wild, but that bicycle spot is probably my favorite spot in wrestling this week. Just because of how absurd it was. The product placement was very much in your face. Sega got involved. They had the whole branding. They even shot the vignette na parang evolution itong babyface team na nakasuit sila. They were making the slow walk. Emile, do you have any feelings on this? Are you gonna pull a Rowan on us?
Ito lang, kasi madaming nagagalit sa WWE for
zombies, Army of the Dead shit.
So, di ba yung mga, presented by, tapos nakaya na yung product dun sa mga LED, dun sa LED barricade. But this is
they did the whole Army of the Dead match, diba?
This is much worse than people are complaining about yung product placement na talaga. But this one, the product placement is the match itself, which
is,
if you're gonna complain
what do you mean
about
much
that
worse? Okay, go
yeah,
on.
If you complain about that one, you might as well also complain about this one. Kasi this is like blatant product placement. And I hate it when pinamumukha sa akin na product placement lang talaga yung nangyayari. Like, I wish if you're gonna do a product placement, parang wag mo naman ipahalata na it's a product placement. Like, let the viewers see that what you're doing is product placement.
Okay,
yes.
So you are the client. What would you, or you are the booker of the wrestling company, and you don't want it to look like an overt product placement segment. So how would you propose to the client na this is a product placement match, but we can't be too product placement-y? Ano yung suggestion mo?
Just do the match without all the extra stuff.
Which is
what? Yung gusto ng client eh. Gusto ng client na nandun yung branding nila.
Yeah,
what would you propose?
As a consumer, so I mean, they did what the client wants, maybe. Pero as a consumer, yun lang yung feelings ko about it. It doesn't make them wrong. That's just my feelings about it. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not in the advertising industry. You are in the advertising industry. You must know better than I do. Pero yun lang yung feelings ko about it.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You're I mean, it's not invalid. It's that you would not like it kasi yun nga, it took what was supposed to be a blood feud and pretty much made it katatawanan, diba? But you know, here's the thing: if I'm Powerhouse Hobbs, who was in the match, and I'm Kyle Fletcher, who I was in the match, not making Chris Jericho money or Kenny Omega money, and I was told by my booker that this client wants me in the match, and I would be getting that brand partnership money. Hindi ko ayaw dun. So, I mean, that is money in my pocket, you know? And it is what it is. It is what it is because Kenny is a video gamer. He is a big gamer and he was all in on this. It is one of those things na you would have to be in a certain part of the market to enjoy. And sorry ka na lang kasi hindi ka Yakuza fan eh. And you know, it's not for you. And it's just one of those things na it does need to happen in a big in a big company like this who will naturally attract brand partnerships that don't always align with, you know, how you're telling a story or how you're putting on the show. So wala, yun lang. Yeah, you're free to hate it, pero you know, it is money in their pockets.
Yeah. It's kind of like yung Pitch Black match, diba? From earlier this year, the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. LA Knight is not going to complain about being involved in there kasi he made money out of it.
And now, are you going to say anything bad about Bray Wyatt's last match ever?
Wow, yeah.
So, wala. Di mo na pwedeng ano yun. It can be any of these guys' last match.
Are you going to pull a Rowan and hate on the progressive match flow segment?
Yun lang talaga eh.
I mean,
I don't hate advertisements in wrestling in general. It's just that they, you know, it was a bit too much for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, what if the Like a Dragon street fight was Paul White's last ever match? What are you gonna do about it now?
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, hopefully, Paul White is okay. I hope that everyone gets to heal up, especially yung mga magre-wrestling pa over the weekend sa Full Gear. Speaking of Full Gear, we have 3 more matches to predict. We'll get to those after the break. But first, another word from our kapodcasts on the Pod Network. Right, last 3 matches for the Full Gear card na hindi pa natin napapag-usapan. Let's talk about the TBS Championship match. Chris Statlander defends against Julia Hart and Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine wearing sky blue.
I don't know. I kind of want them to give Sky Blue the win here. Kasi she yung mas may story heading into the match. And she would benefit from winning the title. But I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'll go with Sky Blue here.
All right, so I'm actually thinking they're gonna go with Julia Hart here kasi Julia is one of the talents they're pushing here. Like Chris is great, Stat is great, pero nawalan yung focus ng division sa kanya. Sky Blue has been getting the focus, Julia Hart has been getting the focus. Deserve naman kasi all of them have been getting better. But I think it's also time na rin to shake it up, and I think since Julia Hart is the only House of Black member who hasn't won a championship yet, I think it's time na rin. Reward her a little bit and shake up the mid-card division, the mid-card of the women's division.
Mm-hmm. I want to focus on Sky Blue a bit since she has been getting a bit more time on TV. I find it a bit distracting that diba, she's got the bad girl makeup on kasi nga naturaan siya ni Julia Hart. But every time she makes her entrance, she winks so seductively, and I feel like parang hindi siya aligned with this more evil, sinister turn she should be going through. And then what makes it worse is, and I know you pointed this out on Patreon, Ro, is when Sky Blue started wearing her Mystery Machine themed gear. Like, why? Why is this happening?
So for those who haven't read my Patreon review, when this debuted, yung gear niya debut, the thing with that is, what likely happened was that she commissioned the Mystery Machine gear way before. It takes a while to make it, diba? So she had that made before she found out she was probably turning heel or was turning a little edgier, diba?
Yeah.
So para hindi masayang, I guess, yung gear na pinagawa niya, sinusuot pa rin niya. I don't know, but somebody should have told her to stop wearing the gear because it does not compute niya with the whole mist angle, right? So that is the weird part that's happening here. I don't know why no one is on that case yet. The wink thing, I think Sky kasi is kind of awkward. If you've been watching her closely, like she's been trying different things to, give herself more of a personality, more of a character. And then she would do the wink thing, the yung tongue out thing, when she would do her entrance, and that was like the best idea she had for her character. And now she's doing that here, and parang wala nag-workshop sa kanya. So she's just trying all of these things and seeing what sticks. So that is my take on what's happening here. But she's good. She's really improved over the past year that they've been featuring her more on AEW television. It's just that parang walang tumutulong sa kanya to get all of these character traits down together.
Ikaw, Emile, no thoughts?
No. Ro pretty much said everything. But I do want to point that they have since since we predict that Statlander is going to lose the TBS title, I think it is also time for her to move up and compete for the Women's World Championship again.
That's right.
This is the way to do it. This is the way to elevate her to the world title scene. Have her lose this one here.
Have Stat go against Timeless Tony Storm for the Women's World Championship. Sorry, Shida. All right. We have a 4-way for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. It's Ricky Starks and Big Bill versus LFI versus FTR versus the Kings of the Black Throne.
This is tough.
Yeah.
FTR parang it could be them because they won they lost the championship so haphazardly that it could all just be leading back to them anyway. But House of Black is good enough. Tapos LFI push then. I'm just, I don't know. LFI is so kind of hot right now. It's tough to not give them the championship, but also tough to not give House of Black the championship. So, nahihirapan akong pumili dito. I'm just gonna rule out FTR, but I wouldn't be surprised if they came away with the win as well.
Ganito na lang, para madali, magnakawan na lang sila ng championship ala Jay White para lahat sila champion, di ba?
I'm gonna give it to LFI kasi LFI has been through so much and they still haven't explained why Andrade split from the group.
For me, I'd count out FTR kasi alalahanin natin, Young Bucks, they're still the number one contender even though they haven't cashed in on a title match yet. So it's too soon to do FTR versus Young Bucks again. So I'll go with the LFI here. Again, they kahabalik lang nila and they've been really hot. They've been over the last few weeks, so might as well capitalize on that and have them win the titles. So I'll go with LFI.
All right. Let's go to the main event, which is for the AEW World Championship. It is MJF versus Jay White. So a couple of questions here. One, do you think the Devil will finally unmask at Full Gear? And then, of course, at the end, we'll predict kung sino yung mananalo. But first, the Devil. Hindi Bill, magpapakita ba?
I think the Devil will show up and reveal themselves after the match. So hindi siya manggugulo sa match. Kasi I think they want MJF to win. And if they're going after his championship, they want to face him and not Jay White, obviously. So that leads me to my prediction. MJF will retain.
Same. MJF will retain, and then the Devil will show up after the match and cause chaos. I still have no clue who the Devil is at this point. But yeah, MJF will retain here.
Sabi ni Sean Ross Sapp, ruled out na raw sina CM Punk and Britt Baker. So if the Devil reveals themselves at Full Gear, this could be our last chance to call our shot kung sino ba tong Devil na to.
I'm still going with Roddy Strong. I don't know. I think he's earned the chance to feud with MJF. Parang naging undesirable to undeniably undesirable. Si Roddy, So I think that's still my pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think last week I said Jack Perry, so I'm gonna stick with that.
Because of the glass, yung sa the Acclaimed.
No, just an out of nowhere prediction, just to maybe surprise people. And again, like I said last week, he needs a reset kasi yung heel turn niya is not really working for me. So might as well have him the Devil gimmick. So I'll go with Jack Perry.
Ito, if MJF still retains, do you think it will reach Super Cena or Super Darby levels of ridiculous?
That depends kasi on how it goes down. It doesn't depend on the result. It depends on how they book themselves to have him retain. So I can't answer that until I see it.
No, not for again also same if depende din sa magiging finish if for some reason 4-1 tas lahat nandun na tas nanalo pa si MJF maybe but we're all predicting an MJF win here nonetheless. So hindi naman siya abot dun sa point na magsasawa na yung tao if MJF wins. So it's not gonna go to that levels yet.
All right. Those are our predictions for Full Gear. If you are still in the live chat, leave your comments or leave your predictions in the comments, rather. Or if you're catching this on the audio-only version of the podcast, please hit us up at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter and on TikTok with your predictions. May time pa tayo for one last item, so let's get into the breaking news that WWE Backlash is headed to France in 2024. So it's been announced that it will be in Lyon, May 4, 2024. So, yung WWE World Tour for premium live events just added another stop. We're already doing Perth, we're doing Germany, and now we're doing France.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It really does, matagal na dapat na, na live up yung W part of WWE, the first W of WWE. So, Le Backlash is happening in Lyon. I don't know how big the demand is in France, but syempre, it's like it's a Europe thing, right? You put it there in continental Europe, and then that's the draw for the rest of the region, right? So it's a big deal. I hope. I mean, it's also the hope for Perth na people like us here na may kaya pupunta tayo sa Perth para manood, diba? If you can, right? So it's a great thing that they're doing. This was the way to flex talaga, their world dominance, and I just don't know why Vince never bothered trying to do it. So props to them for really doing these as mainline events and not just big glorified house shows.
So, yung WWE, yung presence nila in France is actually pretty big kasi they've got French commentators who not only do the premium live events, but they also do the weekly shows. And then on top of that, meron pang WWE-centric programming yung broadcast partners nila.
Okay.
Yeah, and because they keep expanding, they keep going to countries now for PLEs. I think at some point we will have a WrestleMania abroad din. I think in 2 to 3 years, we're gonna have WrestleMania, and probably the first one is gonna be in London. So
yeah, yung tinis ni John Cena, diba?
Yeah, plus with more live events all across the world, manifest din natin dito sa Pinas one day, diba? Magka-PLE din dito. So this is a good thing for WWE. This is a good thing for everyone kasi hindi na lang sa US yung mga shows. Like you can literally WWE PLEs are all across the world now. And 2023 was a big year for them. 2024 is looking to be a bigger year for WWE. So yeah.
In all seriousness, I see you guys commenting WWE PLE in Philippines. In all seriousness, it's probably going to be in Singapore, which is a lot easier for us to go to.
Yeah.
Actually, I would rather fly to the Singapore indoor stadium
than go to the Philippine Arena.
Yes. I would much rather do that.
The travel time is probably the same.
Mas mahal lang, pero at least alam mo kung saan pupunta yung pera mo, diba? So yeah, that Backlash in Lyon should be fun. I'm not sure kung merong French wrestler on the roster right now. Parang wala. Correct me if I'm wrong. Emile no longer with WWE.
Yeah, Emile is not.
Bring back the tag team with that. Ano nga yan? What's the name of
La
the tag team?
Yeah, you brought back Carlito. You probably could just bring back Rene Dupree, diba?
Okay. Yeah, for one night.
Rene Dupree and Robert Conway. But may French-speaking naman, you've got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Yeah.
French-Canadian. So sila yung big draw.
Oh, tas ibubu sila kasi hindi sila French. They're French-Canadian.
Right.
All right, that brings us to the end of this week's live stream. Over the weekend, we'll be dropping our bonus episode as usual. Pag-uusapan natin dun. Kota Ibushi signing with AEW for real, for real. We'll also show love to Adam Pearce, and we'll talk about how maximized the Raw roster really is over the last few weeks. Let's get to some plugs here. Emile, what do you have going on?
Nah, not much. Just follow me on all my socials. If you want to see me shit talk about the NBA and the wrestling, so it's Emile_Maestro on Twitter. So that's it.
May comments ka ba about Draymond Green and his audition for the pro wrestling world? Nagkokinaklat siya eh, di ba?
Yeah, it's too much with Draymond at this point. Like, I'm tired of his antics, and I wish he could get his stuff together. Say it's too much.
Mm-hmm. All right, Ikaw, Ro, what do you have going on?
Nothing much. Go listen to Unmasked if you haven't yet. No new episodes, no new season just yet. We're just working out. We're just getting through the holiday season first. And other than that, please go watch MWF, Action Veda TV. Todos is Wrestling, the Halloween show that just started showing the arcs. So it's available on Rock of Manila TV. On demand on their Facebook page or YouTube page, so you can go catch it anytime you want. New episodes as always on Monday 9 p.m. I believe they replay on Thursday 9 p.m. as well. So yeah, maraming ways to follow what we're doing on MWF kasi that is where our work, coming broadcasters, is shown a lot more. So yeah, follow me as well. My Facebook page, Romeo with spaces in between, and that's pretty much it. Please go support local wrestling.
Yeah, just piggybacking on that, catch MWF Noche Buena, please, on December 3. It is our biggest show of the year.
Yes, sir.
We basically confirmed backstage that it is our equivalent of WrestleMania. You've got the main event between Oro Plata Mata and Team MWF All-Stars, with the caveat that if Oro Plata Mata loses, we have to disband. And the last two wrestlers standing in the ring will be facing off for the MWF Pinoy Wrestling Championship, regardless of which team they are a part of. So that should be a very intriguing main event. Tickets are still on sale online and on you can also walk in, I believe, kung meron pa, but knowing what our track record is for 2023, nagkakaubusan ng tickets sa mga Power Max Center Spotlight show. So it's best to secure your tickets early. So get them now over at tickettome.net. So again, December 3, 4 p.m., Power Max Center Spotlight, MWF Noche Buena. And outside of wrestling, I started doing MC or hype man duties for the PBA, which is great. So my next shift, so to speak, is tomorrow sa Araneta Coliseum. So go catch me there. I'll be doing a Ginebra game for the first time. Kung may tickets pa, go catch that. A Ginebra game is always fun to be a part of, regardless of whether or not you're part of Barangay Ginebra or otherwise. So games start at 4 p.m. and then there's a bit of a break in between, so you can go out and eat. Then 8 p.m. yung second game. That's the Ginebra game. I believe Converge yung kalaban nila in the main event of the doubleheader. So there, that's it for me. Go follow the podcast at Wrestling Podcast on Facebook and on Instagram. Go follow us individually. It is at EML_Meister, at Roiswar, at Chino Supersized, at Monday Night Rowan, and at _Stan C. Thank you very much to babyface producer Jasper for being at the controls behind the scenes, and everyone over at the Pod Network for all of the work that they do for us podcasters. And on behalf of Emile Nate and Romaran, thank you very much to everyone for joining us for another podcast or another stream of the Wrestling Podcast. We're out of here. Stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Bye-bye.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion,